Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Fairytale Friday. Today's episode comes to us all the way from Greece. These characters that we will be reading about are based off of Greek mythology. The ancient Greeks told stories of gods, goddesses, and magical beings. These stories are called myths. Now, today's story is called Atalanta and the Golden Apples. Sit back, grab a snack, and let's read. Atalanta and the Golden Apples. Long ago in ancient Greece, a king called Isis longed for a son to inherit his throne. So when the queen had a baby girl, the disappointed king took the poor baby away and left it in the wilderness. The baby, whose name was Atalanta, was found by a mother bear who took pity on her and raised her with her cubs until one day a kind hunter came by. Thinking Atalanta was all alone, the hunter took her to his home. He taught Atalanta the skills she needed to survive in the wild, and with his help, she grew up to be a great hunter. She was fearless, strong, fast, and highly skilled with a bow. Atalanta's skills were soon noticed by Artemis, the goddess of the wild. Artemis and Atalanta became good friends. And Artemis warned Atalanta that she should never marry or she would lose her incredible powers. Artemis wasn't the only one who had heard of Atalanta. When stories spread of the young woman's courage and strength, she was challenged to fights, invited on perilous voyages, and asked to hunt a giant boar that terrorized the land. She succeeded in everything she tried her hand at. And when King Isis learned of her story, he soon realized that this incredible woman must be the daughter he had left in the wild. Accepting that Atalanta was a brave girl as any son, and feeling regret, he invited her to return home and beg for her forgiveness. Atalanta agreed, but she hadn't been reunited with her family for very long when her father began to nag her to get married. Atalanta was happy, and she was remembering Artemis's warning. She made a deal with him. Father, I will only marry the man who can beat me in a race, and anyone who fails must be thrown in prison. Her father agreed. Atalanta was certain that no man would be foolish enough to risk jail for her, but she hadn't realized how wildly she was admired. As soon as people heard of Atalanta's challenge, men were lining up to race against her. Of course, Atalanta won every race with ease, because she was one of the fastest humans on the planet. Just as Atalanta was reaching the point when she could bear to race no more, a young man called Milanion came forward and requested a race. He was handsome and witty, and he had fallen in love with Atalanta. When Atalanta met him, she liked him so much she didn't want to race him, but she had no choice but to accept his challenge. A date was set for the contest. Despite desperate to marry Atalanta, Milanion prayed at the temple of Aphrodite, the goddess of love, and begged for her help in winning the race. The goddess Aphrodite had long wished that headstrong Atalanta would find love, so she took pity on Milanion. She appeared before him and offered him a gift of 3 golden apples. Each one was enchanted. Throw these apples down as you race with Atalanta, and she will run after them. If you are quick, she will be able to get ahead. Throw these apples down as you race with Atalanta, and she will run after them. If you are quick, you will be able to get ahead of her. If you succeed, you must bring me a gift to thank me. Milanion thanked Aphrodite and vowed he would return to her temple. On the day of the race, he concealed the apples inside his tunic. When the race began, Atalanta gracefully powered ahead. But they hadn't gone far when Milanion threw a golden apple ahead of her. Atalanta saw a glint of gold from the corner of her eye, and wondering what it could be, she ran over to it. It was a thing of great beauty. And as she grabbed the golden apple, Milanion caught up with her and flashed her a smile. Alarmed at his speed, Atalanta raced alongside him and soon overtook him again. Just as she did so, Milanion threw down a second apple. Atalanta saw the flash of gold whoosh by, and though she knew it must be another golden apple, she found herself unable to resist it. She ran over to it, and Melanion bolted into the lead. Atalanta dashed back onto the track and gave chase again, but as she drew level with Melanion as the finish line came into sight, Melanion hurled down a third and final golden apple. Atalanta roared with frustration as she couldn't control her desire to pick it up. She sprinted over to the magic apple and grabbed it, but as she stood up to race again, Melanion crossed the finish line. Proud, Atalanta had lost the race. Atalanta and Melanion were married a week later. Despite the fact that Atalanta had never wanted to marry, they made a fine couple and were happy together. So happy, in fact, that Melanion completely forgot to bring the gift of thanks he had promised to the goddess of Aphrodite. He soon discovered that it isn't wise to offend the gods. One day, when he and Atalanta were out walking, an angry Aphrodite appeared before the happy couple and turned them both into lions. Atalanta and Melanion were forced to flee into the wild, where they hunted together for the rest of their lives. Thank you so much for joining me again today, friends, for another episode of Fairytale Friday. Now don't forget to add your comments below to let me know what fairy tales you'd like to hear next. That subscribe button up there, please click it so you know when I'm coming out with my next video. See you soon!